Captain Velnara had been commanding the exploration vessel Serenity's Hope for 12 years. In that time, she discovered 17 new star systems, cataloged 43 planets, and made contact with 2 primitive civilizations. Nothing surprised her anymore, until the sensors started screaming, "Captain, we have an object approaching from deep space," her tactical officer reported, his voice tight with concern. "It's big, really big." Velnara pulled up the sensor display. The object was still 3 light hours away, but even at this distance, the readings were staggering. The thing was massive, easily 10 times the size of their largest capital ships. Maybe bigger. How fast is it moving? 0.27 light speed and holding steady. That made Velnara sit up straight. Nothing that large should be able to move that fast. The energy requirements alone would be astronomical. What's its heading? Straight toward Federation space. If it maintains current course and speed, it'll cross the border in approximately 48 hours. Velnara had a bad feeling about this. Full sensor scan. I want to know everything about that object. What it's made of, where it came from, and who's flying it. The science station worked for 10 minutes, running every scan they had. When the results came back, they made even less sense than before. The ship, because it had to be a ship, nothing natural moved that precisely, was built like a fortress. Its hull was absurdly thick, layers upon layers of metal and composite materials that the Federation database couldn't even identify. The power signature was off the charts, suggesting a reactor more powerful than anything the Federation had ever built. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission," the communications officer said. "It's repeating on multiple frequencies." "Let's hear it." The message played. It wasn't in any known language, but the translation software recognized it as mathematics, a universal language that any spacefaring species should understand. The message converted to text on the screen. "Unknown vessel. We mean no harm. This is humanity's generation ship Exodus. We have been traveling for 847 years, seeking intelligent life. Please respond." Velnara read it 3 times. 847 years? That's impossible. No species travels for that long, without faster-than-light capability. "Captain, their technology doesn't show any signs of FTL capability," the science officer confirmed. "They're using conventional fusion drives. Very advanced ones, but still conventional. Then how have they been traveling for 847 years? The answer hit everyone at the same time. Generation ship. A vessel designed to travel between stars across multiple lifetimes. It was a concept from ancient history, back before the Federation had discovered FTL technology thousands of years ago. They've been traveling at sublight speeds for over 8 centuries. Velnara whispered, "Who does that?" "Apparently humans do," her second officer replied. Velnara immediately contacted Federation Command and reported the situation. The response came back within the hour. "Make contact, but maintain defensive distance. This ship could be a threat. Do not allow it to enter Federation space until we know more." Taking a deep breath, Velnara ordered her communications officer to broadcast a greeting using the same mathematical language the humans had used. The response came back almost instantly. A face appeared on the view screen that made everyone on the bridge flinch. The creature had forward-facing eyes like a predator. Its mouth was full of flat teeth that it exposed when its lips pulled back in what might have been a smile. Its skin was smooth and pale without scales or fur. When it moved, the motion was fluid and quick, suggesting a hunter's reflexes. But despite the predatory appearance, the creature's expression was friendly, excited even. "Oh my God, you responded," the creature said, and the translation software rendered it in perfect Federation standard. "This is incredible. I'm Captain Rachel Torres of the Exodus. We've been searching for other intelligent life for over 800 years. You're the first we found." Velnara tried to compose herself. "I am Captain Velnara of the Federation vessel Serenity's Hope. Your ship is approaching Federation space. Before we can allow you to proceed, we must conduct an inspection to ensure you pose no threat to our worlds." Of course," Rachel said enthusiastically. "We completely understand. You don't know us, we don't know you. We're happy to cooperate with whatever procedures you need. When can we meet in person? I have so many questions. The human's eagerness was almost childlike. Velnara found it unsettling coming from something that looked like it should be hunting prey across some alien savanna. We'll send an inspection team within 24 hours. Please reduce your speed and hold position. Will do. And Captain, thank you. You have no idea what this means to us. We left Earth 847 years ago, hoping we'd find someone out here. And we finally did. The transmission ended. Velnara sat back in her command chair, trying to process what she'd just witnessed. A species that had traveled for 847 years. Nearly 9 centuries in the void, crossing the vast emptiness between stars acrawl, all in the hope that they might find someone. Generation after generation living and dying on that ship, never seeing their destination, never knowing if there was anything out there. What kind of species does that? Her tactical officer asked, voicing the question everyone was thinking. Velnara looked at the sensor readings, showing the massive ship still approaching at 0.27 light speed. A vessel built to last centuries. A people willing to commit their descendants to a journey they'd never complete. I don't know, she admitted, but I think we're about to find out. Science Officer Krendal had conducted inspections on hundreds of vessels during his 40-year career. He'd seen cargo haulers, warships, luxury liners, even ancient derelict ships floating dead in space. He thought he'd seen everything. The Exodus proved him wrong. The inspection team's shuttle approached the human ship slowly. Even up close, the thing was incomprehensibly massive. Krendal's pilot had to fly for nearly 2 minutes along the hull just to reach the designated airlock. The airlock alone is bigger than our entire shuttle, the pilot muttered. What are we getting into? The airlock opened like a massive mouth, swallowing them whole. Inside, a human waited to greet them. She was young, maybe 30 by Federation standards, wearing a simple blue uniform. Welcome aboard the Exodus, she said with that unsettling smile humans seemed to use. I'm Lieutenant Amy Peterson, ship's liaison. Captain Torres asked me to show you around. Krendal stepped out of the shuttle and immediately felt wrong. The gravity was higher than Federation standard. The air was thicker. Even the lighting seemed harsh and bright. Sorry about the environmental settings, Amy said, noticing his discomfort. We've maintained Earth standard conditions for 847 years. We can adjust your section if you need. No, we'll adapt, Krendal said, trying to sound professional. Please begin the tour. What Amy showed them over the next 4 hours defied everything Krendal thought he knew about space travel. The Exodus wasn't just a ship. It was a complete self-sustaining world. They walked through agricultural sections where crops grew under artificial sunlight. Massive hydroponics bays producing food for 50,000 people. Recycling centers where every drop of water, every breath of air, every scrap of waste was processed and reused. This system has been running for 847 years. Krendal asked, staring at the massive water recycling plant, without replacement parts from a home world. We make our own parts, Amy explained. We have manufacturing facilities that can produce anything we need. Metal refineries, chemical processors, even computer chip fabrication. We had to be completely self-sufficient. There's no resupply when you're traveling between stars. They passed through residential sections where families lived in small apartments. Children played in parks built inside the ship's vast interior. Schools taught the next generation. Hospitals treated the sick. It was a complete society floating through the void. How many generations have lived on this ship? One of Krendal's team members asked. I'm 27th generation, Amy said proudly. My great-great-great-grandmother 25 times removed was born on Earth. I've never seen a planet's surface. Neither have my parents, grandparents, or anyone in my family for centuries. The ship is all we've ever known. The concept was staggering. People who'd spent their entire lives on a ship, who'd never felt natural sunlight or breathed unrecycled air, who'd been born, lived, and died in the same metal corridors, all to continue a mission started by ancestors they'd never met. Did anyone want to stop? Krendal asked quietly. Didn't any generation say this is too hard, let's give up? Amy looked at him with those predatory eyes, and for a moment Krendal saw something fierce in them. Give up and do what? Die in empty space? We're committed. Our ancestors launched this ship knowing they'd never reach the destination, but they did it anyway because they believed their descendants deserved a chance at something better. Every generation since has honored that sacrifice by continuing the mission. She led them to the bridge, where Captain Rachel Torres waited. The command center was impressive. Multiple stations monitoring every system on the massive ship. Holographic displays showing navigation, power distribution, life support, communications. Captain, your ship is remarkable, Krendal admitted, but I have to ask about your weapon systems. Our scan detected kinetic weapons and point defense systems. Why does a civilian vessel need arms? Rachel pulled up a display showing the ship's defensive capabilities. We've been traveling at 0.27 light speed for 847 years. At that velocity, hitting even a small asteroid would be catastrophic. We needed weapons that could destroy debris before it reached us. The kinetic kill vehicles can target and eliminate objects hundreds of thousands of kilometers away. And they're designed to work at relativistic speeds, added Chief Engineer Daniel Foster, a man in his 40s who apparently been maintaining the ship's systems his entire life. We refined them across 27 generations. Every failure, every near miss, every problem was documented and fixed. These weapons are probably more accurate than anything in your fleet. Krendal pulled up his scanner and ran analysis on the weapons. The results made his blood run cold. The kinetic weapons weren't just designed to destroy asteroids. At the velocities they operated, they could penetrate planetary defenses. A single impact on a planet's surface would be like a meteor strike, extinction-level damage. You realize these weapons could destroy cities, entire civilizations. Krendal said carefully, "Of course," Rachel replied, "but we've never had a reason to use them on anything except rocks and ice. We're not warriors, Officer Krendal. We're survivors. There's a difference." Over the next 2 days, Krendal's team inspected every section they could access. They found redundant systems backing up redundant systems. Life support with 7 independent backups. Power generation distributed across hundreds of fusion reactors. Food production in multiple locations, so a single failure wouldn't cause starvation. Everything about the Exodus was built with one philosophy: survive no matter what. The final shock came when Krendal asked about the ship's educational system, and Amy showed him the cultural archives. Humanity's entire history, preserved in perfect detail. Art, music, literature, science, philosophy, everything their species had ever created, carried aboard this ship. Why bring all this? Krendal asked. It takes up enormous storage space. Because we're not just preserving human bodies. Amy explained. We're preserving humanity itself. Our culture, our history, everything that makes us who we are. If we're the only humans left in the universe, we need to remember where we came from. Krendal filed his report that night. His conclusion was simple but terrifying. The human vessel is not a warship, but it may be more dangerous than any warship in the Federation. It is built to survive anything, crewed by people who spent 27 generations refining its systems, and armed with weapons designed to operate at speeds that make conventional defenses useless. Recommend extreme caution. But what he wrote privately in his personal log was different. What kind of species commits to a 1,000-year journey? What drives them to build something like this? And what will they become now that they've found us? He didn't have answers. He wasn't sure he wanted them. The Galactic Federation Council Chamber was in chaos. Representatives from 40 different species were shouting over each other, arguing about what to do with the humans and their massive ship. They're heading toward the Kepler system. One delegate argued, "That's Federation territory now. We colonized those worlds 300 years ago. The planet they detected 847 years ago is home to 2 million of our citizens. Then we inform them the planet is occupied and help them find another world." Another responded, "These people have traveled for centuries. We can't just turn them away." "Can't we?" A Valtorian security official stood up, projecting images of the Exodus's weapon systems. Look at this ship. Those kinetic weapons could level cities. The hull is so thick our most powerful weapons would barely scratch it. This is a civilian vessel. It's a fortress that happens to carry civilians. Council member Threnva, one of the eldest and most respected diplomats, raised her hand for silence. The question is not whether we can deny them entry. The question is whether we should. These humans have done nothing hostile. They've been cooperative with our inspection. They seem genuinely peaceful. Seem being the key word. The Valtorians shot back. We know nothing about their true intentions. What if this is reconnaissance? What if there are more ships coming? Captain Velnara, attending the session as the officer who made first contact, spoke up. Council members, I reviewed Lieutenant Peterson's historical files. Humanity sent one ship. Just one. It carried their last hope for survival as a species. There are no reinforcements coming. These 50,000 people are likely the only humans left in the universe. The debate raged for hours. Offer them FTL technology, deny them access to their destination, relocate them to an uninhabited world. Every option had supporters and detractors. Then everything changed. An urgent transmission interrupted the council session. Captain Rachel Torres's face appeared on every screen, looking determined. Federation vessels, this is the Exodus. Our long-range sensors have detected a distress call approximately 6 light hours from our current position. A merchant ship is under attack by what appears to be raiders. We're altering course to provide assistance. Velnara immediately opened a channel. Captain Torres, you can't engage unknown hostiles. Your ship isn't designed for combat against modern weapons. Those raiders likely have FDL-capable warships. You'll be destroyed. Rachel's expression didn't change. Maybe, but there are people in danger, and we're in a position to help. We didn't travel 847 years across the void just to ignore someone who needs us. We're going. The transmission ended. On the Federation side, there was stunned silence. They're going to get themselves killed, someone whispered. Velnara was already moving. I need authorization to pursue with my ship. Now! By the time the Federation vessels could respond, the Exodus was already accelerating toward the distress call. The Generation ship, which seemed slow and plodding compared to FTL vessels, could still move incredibly fast at sublight speeds. Centuries of engine refinement had made it faster than it had any right to be. The raiders were the Red Star Collective, a criminal organization known throughout the sector. 12 ships, all FTL-capable, attacking a helpless merchant vessel. They destroyed the merchant's engines and were preparing to board when their sensors detected the Exodus approaching. The Red Star commander, a vicious criminal named Skarnoff, actually laughed when he saw the readings. Look at this primitive thing. No FTL signature. Ancient fusion drives. What is this, a museum piece? His tactical officer wasn't laughing. Commander, that ship is enormous. The hull thickness readings don't make sense. And those weapons are designed for a vessel that doesn't have shields, Skarnoff interrupted. Probably uses thick armor, because they don't know how to make proper defensive systems. Easy prey. He broadcast a warning to the approaching ship. Unknown vessel. This is none of your business. Leave now or share the fate of this merchant scum. Rachel Torres's response was calm and firm. Red Star vessels, release the merchant ship and leave immediately. This is your only warning. Skarnoff sneered. You dare threaten us? All ships. Open fire on that relic. Let's see how their ancient armor holds up. 12 ships unleashed everything they had. Energy weapons, missiles, plasma torpedoes. The space around the Exodus lit up with explosions and weapon impacts. On the Exodus bridge, Lieutenant Amy Peterson monitored the damage reports. Captain, their weapons are hitting us, but they're barely penetrating the outer hull layers. Damage is superficial. Chief Engineer Daniel Foster added from engineering. Those energy weapons are designed for ships with shields. Our armor just absorbs the heat and dissipates it. They're not doing anything we can't handle. Rachel nodded. Return fire. Target their engines and weapon systems. Disable them. The Exodus's kinetic weapons came online. These weren't energy beams or missiles. They were solid projectiles accelerated to incredible velocities using magnetic coils, weapons designed to destroy asteroids traveling at relativistic speeds. The first salvo hit 3 Raider ships. The kinetic rounds punched through their shields like they weren't there, tore through the hulls, and exited out the other side. All 3 ships exploded almost simultaneously. What the hell was that? Skarnoth screamed. How did they? Another salvo. 2 more ships gone. The point defense systems activated, tracking and destroying every missile the Raiders launched with terrifying precision. The battle lasted exactly 4 minutes and 17 seconds. 8 Red Star ships were destroyed outright. The remaining 4, including Skarnoth's flagship, jumped to FTL and fled. Rachel opened a channel to the merchant vessel. Merchant ship, this is the Exodus. Are you all right? Do you need assistance? The merchant captain's voice was shaking. Yes, we're damaged but alive. Thank you. Who are you? We're humanity, and we don't leave people in trouble. When Velnara's ship arrived 30 minutes later, she found the Exodus helping repair the merchant vessel. The human ship had sustained over 200 direct hits from modern weapons and showed almost no significant damage. Captain Torres. Velnara said quietly over the comm, "Where are you?" Rachel smiled that predatory human smile. "We're survivors, Captain. We've been surviving for 847 years. Did you really think a few pirates would stop us now?" News of the battle spread across the Federation within hours. A generation ship, an ancient vessel without faster-than-light capability, had defeated a modern pirate fleet. The footage was replayed on every news network. 12 Raider ships versus 1 human vessel. For minutes of combat, 8 Raiders destroyed. The Federation Council reconvened with a very different attitude. "These humans aren't primitives," Council member Threnva stated. "They've refined their technology across 27 generations. That ship may not have FTL, but it's more advanced in other ways than anything we've built." The debate shifted. Instead of whether to help humanity, the question became how to integrate them into galactic society. After 2 days of discussion, the Council reached a decision. Captain Velnara was chosen to deliver the offer. She met with Captain Rachel Torres in a conference room aboard the Exodus. The room was simple, functional, decorated with photographs showing 27 generations of humans who'd lived and died on this ship. "Captain Torres," Velnara began, "the Federation Council has authorized me to make you an offer. We want to give you faster-than-light technology." Rachel's eyes widened. "You'd share that with us?" "Just like that." "Not just that. We're offering full integration into Federation society. Your people can settle on any available world. We have colony planets with Earth-like conditions. Or we can help you terraform the world you were originally heading toward. You'd have representation on the Council, access to our trade networks, protection under Federation law." "That's incredibly generous," Rachel said, but Velnara could see the hesitation in her expression. "There's one condition," Velnara continued. "The Exodus would need to be decommissioned. It's too dangerous to remain operational. We preserve it as a museum, a monument to your species' incredible journey. But it can't continue as an active vessel." Rachel was quiet for a long moment. "I need to discuss this with my council. This isn't a decision I can make alone." The Exodus Council met that evening. 20 representatives, each one speaking for different sections of the ship. Engineers, doctors, teachers, farmers, parents. People whose entire lives had been spent keeping the mission alive. Rachel presented the Federation's offer. When she finished, the room erupted in argument. "We should accept," said Dr. Linda Hayes, head of the medical department. "We can finally stop. Our people can walk on real ground, breathe real air, see a real sky. Isn't that what we've been working toward?" "Working toward a destination, yes," countered Lieutenant Amy Peterson. "But abandoning the ship, turning it into a museum? Our ancestors built this. 27 generations have maintained it. We can't just throw it away." "It's not throw it away," another council member argued. "It's completing the mission. We found intelligent life. We proved humanity could cross the stars. Now we can rest." Chief Engineer Daniel Foster stood up. He was quiet normally, preferring his engines to politics. But now he spoke with passion. This ship isn't just a vehicle. It's humanity's masterpiece. Every system, every component, has been tested and refined for 847 years. When a part failed, we didn't just replace it, we improved it. When a system had a flaw, we fixed it and made sure it never failed again. He pulled up schematics on the display. The original Exodus that left Earth had a projected lifespan of 500 years. We've kept it running for 847 years, and it's in better condition now than when it launched. Because every generation has made it better, stronger, more efficient. He looked around the room. My great-grandfather was chief engineer. His great-grandmother before him. I grew up in the engine rooms. I learned to crawl between the reactor cores. This ship is in my blood. In all our blood. How can we just abandon it? The debate went late into the night. Some argued for accepting the offer completely. Others wanted to refuse it entirely. Finally, a compromise emerged. Captain Rachel called Velnara the next morning. We've made our decision. We'll accept the FTL technology and join the Federation. But we're keeping the Exodus. Keeping it. Velnara asked carefully. We'll integrate your FTL drives into our ship. Upgrade our systems with Federation technology. But the Exodus remains operational. It's our home, our history, our identity. Rachel's voice was firm. We didn't survive 847 years in the void just to abandon the ship that got us here. Velnara reported back to the council. Some members were uneasy. They'd hoped the dangerous human ship would be retired. But ultimately, they agreed. The Federation would provide FTL drives and technical assistance. Human engineers would integrate the new technology while maintaining the ship's core design. Over the next 3 weeks, the Exodus underwent the most significant upgrade in its 847-year history. Federation technicians worked alongside human engineers. FTL drives were carefully installed into the massive hull. Shield generators were added. Communication systems upgraded. Weapons targeting enhanced with modern computers. But the humans insisted on maintaining certain things. The thick armor stayed. The kinetic weapons remained. The redundant backup systems that had kept them alive for centuries weren't removed. They were enhanced. Lieutenant Amy Peterson worked closely with a Federation engineer named Krelvin, helping integrate the new systems. Your people build everything with backups, he observed. Triple and quadruple redundancies. Isn't that inefficient? It's survival, Amy explained. When you're traveling for generations with no way to get help, you can't afford single points of failure. Everything has to have a backup, and the backup needs a backup. That's how we've lasted this long. Chief Engineer Daniel Foster supervised the FTL installation personally. He studied every component, every connection, making sure the new technology integrated perfectly with the old. We're not just bolting on FTL drives, he told his team. We're making them part of the ship, Exodus standard. By the end of the 3rd week, the transformation was complete. The Exodus was no longer just a generation ship. It was something new, a hybrid of ancient human engineering and modern Federation technology. A vessel that combined 847 years of refinement with cutting-edge systems. Captain Rachel stood on the bridge as they prepared for the first FTL test. All stations status report. One by one, the departments reported in. Engineering, navigation, life support, weapons, shields. All systems green. All crews ready. Engage FTL drive, Rachel ordered. Space twisted. Reality bent. For the first time in 847 years, the Exodus moved faster than light. When they dropped out of FTL 3 light years away, the crew erupted in cheers. They'd done it. The ship that had plodded through space for centuries could now cross the stars in moments. But across the sector, the Red Star Collective was watching. Skarnov, humiliated by his defeat, had spent 3 weeks gathering his entire fleet. Over 100 ships, every vessel the collective could muster. They think their primitive ship is a match for us, he snarled. We'll show them what happens when you embarrass the Red Star Collective. We'll destroy them all. His fleet began moving toward the Exodus's last known position. They expected to find the generation ship still learning its new FTL systems, vulnerable and unprepared. What they were about to discover was that humanity had just made their already dangerous ship even more deadly. And the Red Star Collector was about to learn why you never pick a fight with people who spent 847 years learning to survive. The Red Star Collector's fleet emerged from FTL at the coordinates, where they expected to find the Exodus still fumbling with its new drives. Over 100 ships, the largest pirate armada ever assembled in the sector. Skarnoff sat in his command chair, savoring what he thought would be an easy victory. Scanned for that primitive ship. It's probably still trying to figure out how FTL works. His sensor officer went pale. Commander, the Exodus is already here. They're waiting for us. On the view screen, the massive generation ship hung in space like a sleeping giant. But it wasn't sleeping. Every weapon system was powered up. Shields were at maximum. And it was holding position exactly where the Red Star fleet would emerge from FTL. They'd been waiting for them. Captain Rachel Torres sat calmly on her bridge, surrounded by her crew. Lieutenant Amy Peterson at Tactical. Chief Engineer Daniel Foster monitoring power distribution. Navigator Kevin Walsh tracking fleet movements. People who'd grown up together on this ship, who'd trained for this moment their entire lives without knowing it. Well, Rachel said quietly, "Here they come." Skarnoff broadcast his demands, his voice dripping with arrogance. "Surrender your ship, and we'll kill you quickly. Resist, and we'll make you suffer for humiliating us." Rachel's response was simple. "You attacked innocent people. You're pirates and murderers. And you made a critical mistake coming here." "What mistake?" Skarnoff sneered. "You thought we were weak because we were old. You forgot that things that last for 847 years don't last by being weak. They last by being strong enough to survive anything." Skarnoff's face twisted with rage. All ships, destroy them. Over 100 vessels opened fire simultaneously. Energy weapons, missiles, plasma torpedoes, kinetic rounds. Everything they had unleashed at once. The space around the Exodus became a storm of fire and death. On the Exodus bridge, damage reports started flowing in, but they weren't catastrophic. They weren't even serious. Shields holding at 87%, Amy reported calmly. Hull armor absorbing most of the kinetic impacts. Minimal penetration on outer sections. Engineering, how are we doing? Rachel asked. Daniel's voice came through, steady and confident. "We're fine, Captain. The Federation shields are handling the energy weapons. Our armor is dealing with everything else. These raiders are shooting at a ship designed to survive relativistic debris impacts. They're barely tickling us." Rachel allowed herself a small smile. "Return fire. All weapons. Show them what 847 years of refinement looks like." The Exodus opened up with everything it had. The kinetic weapons, now enhanced with Federation targeting computers, fire with devastating precision. Each round was a solid projectile, accelerated to incredible speeds. When they hit hard. 3 Raider ships exploded in the first salvo. Then 5 more. Then 8. The point defense systems tracked and destroyed incoming missiles with efficiency that shocked even the Federation observers watching from a safe distance. "How are they doing this?" Captain Velnara whispered from her ship. "They're outnumbered 100 to 1. Her tactical officer pulled up analysis. "Captain, the Exodus isn't fighting like a modern ship. Modern vessels rely on shields and agility. The Exodus doesn't dodge. It doesn't need to. It just absorbs everything and keeps shooting back." Skarnoff watched in growing horror as his fleet was systematically torn apart. His ship's weapons were designed to overwhelm shields and destroy lightly armored vessels. The Exodus had shields and armor thicker than any ship he'd ever seen. "Focus fire on one section," he screamed. "Concentrate all weapons on their port side." 30 ships redirected their fire to a single point on the Exodus's hull. For a moment, it seemed to work. The shields in that section flickered and failed. Weapons impacted the armor directly. On the Exodus, alarms blared. "Shield failure on port sections 12 through 18, Amy reported. "Direct hits on the armor. Damage assessment?" Rachel asked, still calm. Armor layers 1 through 4 compromised. Layers 5 through 12 holding. No internal damage. Rachel nodded. Redirect auxiliary power to port shields. Rotate the ship to present fresh armor. Continue firing. The Exodus rotated slowly, bringing undamaged sections to face the enemy while its weapons never stopped firing. More raiders died. Some tried to flee, jumping to FTL. Rachel let them go, focusing on one still fighting. Lieutenant Amy Peterson watched her tactical display with fierce concentration. She'd grown up on this ship, played in its corridors as a child, studied its systems as a student. Now she was using those systems to protect her home and everyone aboard it. Target their command ship, she said quietly. The one Skarnoth is on. Let's end this. 6 kinetic rounds fired simultaneously. They converged on Skarnoth's flagship from different angles. The shields collapsed. The hull shattered. The ship broke apart in a series of explosions. The remaining Red Star vessels saw their commander die and made the smart choice. They ran, jumped to FTL, and scattered in every direction. The battle was over. 17 minutes from start to finish. The Exodus had faced over 100 modern warships and won decisively. Rachel opened a channel to the Federation observers. Captain Velnara, we're going to need some repair crews. We got hull breaches that need patching. Hull breaches. Velnara asked, you just defeated an entire fleet, and you're worried about hull breaches? Of course. The Exodus has to last forever. We don't tolerate damage, no matter how small. Chief Engineer Daniel Foster was already organizing repair teams. People who'd spent their lives maintaining this ship were now fixing battle damage. They worked with practice efficiency, sealing breaches, replacing damaged armor plates, restoring systems. How bad is it? Rachel asked Daniel when she visited engineering. Honestly, not bad. We've had worse from asteroid impacts. Everything critical is intact. Give us 48 hours, and you won't even be able to tell we were in a fight. News of the battle spread across the galaxy within hours. The Generation ship that defeated a pirate fleet. 1 vessel against 100. The floating fortress that proved impossible to destroy. The Federation Council held an emergency session. There was no more debate about whether to accept humanity. The only question was how fast they could formalize the integration. Council member Threnvier addressed the assembly. For thousands of years, we've measured strength by technology. Speed, weapons, shields. The humans showed us we forgot something important. Determination. They built a ship designed to last 1,000 years, and they maintained it for 847 years. That's not technology. That's will. The official invitation came within days. Humanity was welcomed as full members of the Galactic Federation. The Exodus was recognized as a sovereign vessel, a mobile colony with all the rights and protections that entailed. Years later, the Exodus became a legend, the Generation ship that refused to die, the floating terror that turned out to be the galaxy's finest vessel. Not because of its weapons or shields, but because of the determination of the people who built it and the 27 generations who kept it running. Captain Rachel Torres stood on the bridge of her ship, now equipped with the best technology the Federation could offer, but still fundamentally the same vessel that left Earth 847 years ago. Lieutenant Amy Peterson, promoted to executive officer, stood beside her. What do you think our ancestors would say if they could see us now? Amy asked. Rachel smiled. I think they'd say we did exactly what they hoped we'd do. We kept going. We survived. We found what they sent us to find. And we kept the ship. Most importantly, we kept the ship. Across the galaxy, other species looked at the Exodus with a mix of fear and respect. They'd learned a simple truth. Never underestimate humans. They're the species that committed to a 1,000-year journey just to find out if they were alone. They built a ship capable of outlasting empires. They refined it across 27 generations until it became something extraordinary. They're humanity, and they don't quit. The end.